Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Um, it is UEP, and today we are going to be discussing the presidential election. Today, I believe, is June 12th. I did this video 10 days ago, and so much has changed, really. Sure, we had the George Floyd, the brutal murder of George Floyd, and COVID-19 was obviously still a thing, as it is now. Um, but, like, George Floyd, I don't think that the details had really. I feel like they kind of had, but not entirely. So, so yeah, that's what I want to talk about now. And so I'm going to be weighting a lot of stuff on how voters think about the candidates together. So first, let's just talk about Trump's approval rating. He has been at 41% consistently for like the past week or so, 2 weeks maybe. And if you remember, 2 months ago, he had a good point where he had a 46% approval rating, which was the best for his term. Another good point, um, kind of in the middle of May, where he was at 44%, but he has fallen off a cliff since then. And the bleeding is not look like it's stopping. And the betting odds, I think, are the most telling sign here. Um, if you look at these betting odds, they are these are horrible for Donald. Like he had the lead consistently, and then Joe Biden is overtaking him. Like the bleeding uh, has, has not stopped at all for the Trump and JHK forecast. Now Joe Biden, like 3 days ago, he had a 70% chance of winning on JHK forecast. Now he has a 77% chance of winning. Look at this is insane. It was like 71%. Yeah. And he has, Trump has fallen off a cliff here. I mean, like, JHK forecast has always been a little bit generous towards Biden, but still, that is insane how bad this looks for Donald Trump. I mean, like, we're looking at states like Ohio, Iowa, and Georgia being pretty competitive at this point. They're looking at states like Arizona, Florida, and North Carolina being like 65% chance of going Democratic. Uh, Wisconsin having a 72% chance. Like, this is really not looking good for Donald Trump. So, that being said, he still does have some safe states. And New Mexico is interesting because I don't think that Joe Biden is the strong candidate for New Mexico, but he has a 99% chance of winning at this point. I mean, um, like he started off 96, but like I don't think there's really a reason to worry about him winning New Mexico. I think the margin could be interesting, but I'm going to put it as lower and safe state. I think Illinois is going to be safe. Well, not. Well, I think everyone knows that. Obviously, all the New England states except for New Hampshire, Maine's first congressional district, and at large, New York, um, Hawaii. So Virginia isn't like in theory it should be safe, but Trump's going to lose by something like 9 or 10 points, not 12 plus, which is what I have safe as. Again, Utah is going to be safe for the Republicans. That's like me again saying that Illinois isn't safe for the Democrats because some poll came out that when they had Biden, they had by 3 or 4 because uh, that's ridiculous. Utah's going to be safe for the Republicans. Um, so it's going to look a little something like this. And Alaska, I think Alaska's going to narrow down. So yeah, 97 safe, electoral votes for Trump, and 190 for Biden. So moving on to the likely states, Colorado would be likely. I think it'll go like as I said earlier. New Mexico, lower and safe state, could go for like 12 to 14 points. For Biden, Colorado's going to go like 10 to 12. I believe in 2016. Um, I'm pretty sure that Hillary Clinton won by like 10 point. Oh, okay, that's interesting because she won by only 5. So it was actually a lean state, but Gary Johnson took 5.18% of the vote away from her. So in 2012, I think Obama, yeah. Okay. Um, okay, this has been a 5 point state, but it's definitely trending to the left. All right, that's interesting. I was wrong. All right, Minnesota should be likely. I know it was a Till Clinton state, but I mean Hillary Clinton, she had no appeal at all to Rust Belt voters, and I'm not trying to bash on Hillary. I'm a liberal. I love Hillary, but uh, she did not have the appeal to win the Rust Belt, and she still won Minnesota by what 1.5%. So Biden has so much more appeal than her, and like even when they ran Al Gore, who was an environmentalist, he carried Minnesota by. Um, he consistently, I think he won Minnesota by. Um, let me see, election in Minnesota. Yeah, I think that he won Minnesota. Oh no, we gotta go back. All right, I think he won Minnesota by like 7 points. All right, no, so Ralph Nader took. Yeah, okay, but we all know that Ralph Nader took away a ton of votes. Like, just add that 5% on, so you get 50. Yeah, 7 points. Yeah, I was kind of right because I mean, all these Nader voters are going to go over to Gore. I mean, uh, Ralph Nader he stole the election from Al Gore. If I'm going to be completely honest. So yeah, and at this point, I probably have to characterize Michigan as a likely Democratic state because I mean, all the look at the polling from Michigan. It is like there are a ton of polls that have Trump or that have Trump behind by double. Like John James, I originally thought he was going to outperform Trump. I think Trump's going to actually outperform James now. Biden ahead by 15. Peters ahead by 16. Biden plus 12. Okay, Biden plus 2. Change research. That's a C minus rated poll. Biden ahead by 6. Biden ahead by 6. But these are all like Biden has just took off in all these states. In Michigan, specifically, and having Gary Peters there is only going to help him. So when you have um, let's see. Just so you know, Trump's approval rating in Michigan is, I think, minus 10 net, negative 10 net. So this is popular vote in Michigan. They give this to Biden by a likely margin, and I'm going to do the same. So all the data points towards uh, this being a likely Democratic state. Like the only thing you can say that'll make me think otherwise. Well, actually, no, not me because I'm confident in this prediction. But if one of those people who keep saying but 2016, that is the most ludicrous statement you can make regarding these states. If I say but blah blah blah, like if I characterize Indiana as democratic, and then and then someone looks at me and like, no, you're crazy. Indiana's a red state, which it is. If I say but 2008, like that. You see where I'm going with this? It's a ridiculous thing to say, and it's completely. It makes you look like you're just saying that for the heck of saying it. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent about this, but it is you can't just keep saying but 2016 about everything. All the data says the Michigan could be a likely Biden state, and I'm being generous. I think this is a lower end likely state, like 6 to 8 point win for Biden. JHK forecasts what they have Biden ahead by like 7 points. Like in the polling, they have Biden ahead by 15, 12. Peters ahead by 60. Like again, this is I think I'm being generous here. I can make a reasonable argument for putting Michigan as safe blue, but I'm not going to do that because I don't have enough confidence to put it as safe blue. So I'm taking 2016 into account, and I'm weighting that. However, it's looking like a likely Democratic state right now. Now, Virginia, obviously, whoops, no, not likely red. Virginia is obviously going to go for the Democratic Party by a likely margin. It is turned away from the Republicans. I mean, they this was a Bush state. Let's see if I can do this. Whoops, no. I think this was a Bush. Yeah, this is a Bush state twice, and it went from like pretty reliable, but like likely margins each time. In All right, that didn't work. In Virginia. So as you can see, yeah, he won this by a likely margin against Al Gore, and I think he won it. Yeah. So he beat John Kerry here by 8, and he beat Al Gore here by 8 as well. All right. Well, actually, yeah, 8.03. So now it went to Obama by 5 points in 2008, but this was coming off of an election that Democrats had lost it by 7, so that was a 12-point swing, and then he won it again by 5 and Hillary Clinton won it by 5, and it's trending to the left, so it's going to be a likely uh, Democratic state. Now, I would rate it as safe because, look, let's be honest here. Joe Biden is not going to lose Virginia. He has a 95.3% chance of winning Virginia. So, but I think likely is the margin it's going to go by. All right. For Trump likely states, Iowa and Missouri are going to be likely. Missouri, I think Nicole Galloway is going to outperform Joe Biden. I think the polls are underestimating her. And now, before you say that I'm a wacko liberal who only goes off of polling and then I don't take it into account when it favors the Republicans, I am taking it into account. I think that Donald Trump is going to outperform the polling. However, he's still going to lose. Like the polling has him losing by 14 points. I think he's going to outperform that. Obviously, if the polling has Galloway losing by 9, I think she's going to outperform that, but still lose. So I'm playing by my rules. Ohio, I'm not going to characterize that as likely just yet. Moving on to Texas, they're getting a lot of their likely electoral votes from the state of Texas, and this is because mostly Beto O'Rourke. I think he made this close just because, sure, 5 million Latinos didn't vote, and most of them are going to be going for Beto. Like 70% of them went for the Democrats in the midterms, so 70% of 5 million people. That's like 3.5 million people out of those 5 million, and he lost this race by 200,000 votes. So yes, he would have won had those people voted. However, he had the time and money and energy. Like he raised a ton of money. He had the time, money, and energy and charisma to go to every single county in Texas. And if you look at a map of Texas, there are so many counties in. Let me just tell you, filling in a county map of Texas on for my election nights, it is painful. It takes like 15, 20 minutes and just to click the little counties. And sometimes I have to use the fill tool, and I don't like to use it because I always forget to fill in like counties, but whatever. So Beto O'Rourke, he had the time, energy, and charisma and money to visit every single county in Texas and make this a very close race. Joe Biden, he's not charismatic. Sure, I'm assuming that he's a very good person. Like I haven't met him, but I'm assuming that he's a very good person deep down. But he doesn't have the charisma, and he's 30 years older than Beto O'Rourke, like 35 years older than Beto O'Rourke. So he doesn't have the time to Sure, he could in theory he could only campaign in like Texas and be like, I want to flip these 38 electoral votes, but lose the Rust Belt in Arizona, in Florida, North Carolina. Like he could do that, and it'll probably cost him the election, but he could do that. So realistically, I mean. He could do that, realistically, that wouldn't happen. So it'll be likely Republican. Mississippi and South Carolina are kind of like those states that some people characterize as safe for the Republicans. I mean, Hillary Clinton lost the state by a lower end safe margin. She lost by a little less than 14 points. She lost Mississippi by 15 points, I think. They're all going to narrow down because of increased African American turnout. Joe Biden should be a little bit stronger than Clinton in the South, and they're just trending to the left in general. So yeah, Alaska is going to be likely, just because there is a lot of third-party voting. If you want to talk about 2016, it is interesting because 2000. So Ralph Nader again took away a ton of votes from Gore, but I don't think that's a good example. I think we have to look at the more recent elections, and again, 2008 was a landslide Democratic year, but Sarah Palin was from Alaska, so. So Mitt Romney won this by 14%, but Hillary Clinton, she won this. Again, Gary Johnson took away 6% of the vote. There is an Alaskan Independence Party candidate running, who is only going to be in the ballot in Alaska, and he's just only going, and he draws the votes away from the left and from the right. So it's going to narrow down to like a 10 to 11% margin of victory for Donald Trump. However, Al Gross could win the Senate race there. I'm going to say that. So yeah. Lean Democratic states. We're talking about states like Nevada, which, if we had a Hillary Clinton running or Catherine Cortez Masto as vice president, and she already said that she doesn't want to be VP, she really would probably flip Nevada by the same margin as Colorado or maybe even New Mexico. But I mean, being honest with you, Nevada is an interesting proposition because the Trump campaign has stated that they think that they can win Nevada. Now, right now, it is projected that Joe Biden has an 84% chance of winning, 84.5% chance. But Hillary Clinton, she won this by a lean margin in 2016, and she is stronger than Joe Biden is with the minority vote. Oops, okay. I pasted 2000, so we're just gonna have to click this handy dandy button on Wikipedia. So Obama won this by a safe margin in 2008, which is pretty interesting. I actually didn't know that. He won it by a likely margin in 2012 and 2016. I think it narrowed down to a 2.5% margin. So yes, it is narrowing down, but again, Democrats went from a downgrade from Obama to Hillary Clinton, who Hillary Clinton was not as popular as she was nowhere near the popularity of Obama. So I think it'll stay something like a 3 to 5% margin for Biden, which is what a lean state is. So yes, now he is a little more popular than Hillary Clinton, or he's more popular, obviously, than Hillary Clinton was, but still, I don't think that he's as strong with minorities than she was. Okay. Moving on, I do have one more state that I'm going to put in this category, New Hampshire. Now, I know it was a tilt blue state in 2016, but I'm just going to put it as lean because that's where I think it belongs in general. That's essentially it. Now, that would be it for the Biden campaign. So, lean Republican states, I think, are Ohio, and yeah, so Ohio, the polling actually does favor Biden, which is pretty surprising because uh, it is not. Oh, this is a House poll. That's interesting. Yeah, so Um, it's actually pretty interesting because um, this poll is Biden ahead by 2. This one is Trump ahead by 3. Biden plus 1. Trump plus 5 plus 4. So actually they're pretty split. And I'm gonna go with in the polling. I think that okay, RCP average. Let's do battleground states. Hopefully Ohio's there. Yeah. All right. So the RCP average is Trump plus 0.5. So I'm gonna go with the polling here, and I do expect Trump to outperform polling as I already mentioned. So that adds up for a Trump victory in Ohio, and even in JHK forecast, which again has been generous to the Democrats consistently, still is a good model to use. Has never really had Biden ahead in Ohio. Yes, he's narrowing it down, and at one point he had like a 24% chance of winning it. Now it is narrowing down, and that's why I'm moving it from likely to lean. But it'll be like a lower end lean state. It'll be like 4 or 5% margin for Donald Trump. He'll win Nebraska's second congressional district by a lean margin. Wait, is that likely? No, it's tilt. All right. So just generally, in 2016, I think Hillary Clinton lost this by a likely margin. Biden will make it narrower, but still, being a rural state that has conservative values, I still don't see it flipping. Because Obama, he invested a lot of time and energy into this district. I don't think that Joe Biden is going to focus the same attention into it. Georgia will be lean for the Republicans, just because, yes, I know that Georgia is generally a solidly Republican state. Not anymore. Now, in 2016, what I think is so remarkable is that Hillary Clinton, she outperformed Obama there by like I think 5%, because I'm pretty sure that Obama he lost it by um, uh, I think he lost it by 10 in 2012. So Georgia, okay, we don't need to talk about Al Gore and John Kerry. They both lost, but okay. So he lost. Obama lost by 6 in a blue wave year, and then I think he lost by he lost by 8. So Hillary Clinton outperformed him by 3%. So she lost the race by 5%. And I think Biden could make it a little more narrow, like improve by 1% off Hillary Clinton, because I think he's a little bit better with African Americans in the South. Well, in general. So that's basically it. The polling, I think there was one poll that had Biden ahead in Georgia, but the rest have Trump. Yeah. Okay. So they had Biden ahead. But again, it's certainly going to be, it'll be, it should be close, but I think that Trump plus 4 is what I'm going to go with in general. And then we do have one last state for Trump that I think is going to go by a lean margin, and that is Maine second. It's actually a district, but whatever. I mean, this is trending to the right. I do expect Eric Brakey to win the House race and flip that seat back to the Republican. And I think this is going to start to become a safe Republican area, because it's a rural area. So generally, that's my So I think it's going to go down. All right, now Biden tilt states. Starting off with the state of Arizona, I think I'm actually being generous because I was seriously considering putting this in lean along with Nevada, but literally all the polling has Biden ahead. Okay, there's one poll that had Trump ahead, but I don't buy that. Like Kelly's ahead by 13 in this poll, Biden's ahead by 4, and even Fox News, which again is famous for having a right wing bias, they have Biden ahead by 4, Kelly ahead by 13, Kelly ahead by 10, Biden ahead by 2, Biden plus 4, Biden plus 8, Kelly plus 13, and this is the same poll that had McSally winning in 2018 when she lost to Kirsten Sinema by a lean margin. So yeah, I think I'm actually being generous here. And JHK forecast, I think they give Biden like a 65% chance of winning Arizona. Yeah, 65% essentially. And it was originally in Trump's column, it's flipped to Biden, and he's only expanding his lead. I remember talking about this, and I said it could pass 60, and it did. So that is certainly interesting. But I'm still going to put it in the tilt column. I could improve this for Biden, maybe not. Now, Wisconsin, I'm seriously considering the fact, I'm starting to accept the fact that Wisconsin, I think, is probably going to vote to the left of Pennsylvania. And I say this because Donald Trump is going to exploit the coal miners in Pennsylvania. Like, not, okay, well, that came off wrong. He's going to exploit them in terms of voting, and he's going to take statements that even Hillary Clinton, who's not even running, made and say, I kept my promises, and I'm not going to go dive into whether that's true or not. However, right now, it's looking like the polls in Wisconsin are looking better and better for Biden, and in Pennsylvania, not so much. Biden plus 9, Biden plus 10, Biden plus 9, Biden plus 3, Biden plus 4, Biden plus 5. There's no Senate race or governor's race, so nothing else to really talk about that could help or hurt Biden. So, yeah, as you notice, he's almost to 270, and I'm not done yet. Pennsylvania, I think Wisconsin could go by a lean margin, but I think it's going to be a 2-point victory. Pennsylvania is probably going to be like a 1 to 1.5% victory. So, Pennsylvania, I just think at this point, it's trending to the right. I will admit that. But it's still a blue state, and I mean, even Al Gore, who was a staunch environmentalist, he won this state by I think 2 or 3 points. And yes, I know it is trending to the right, so I'm gonna say that he won by 4 points. That it does kind of narrow down from that. Oh, okay. This is surprising that John Kerry did worse than Al Gore in Pennsylvania. All right, that's interesting. All right, so Obama, he won this by 10 points, which still likely more. He won it by 6 points in 2012. And Hillary Clinton lost this state by a total of literally 45,000 votes. Hey, this page, okay, that's interesting. All right, so Pennsylvania is going to go to the Democrats. There is some polling. No Senate or gubernatorial races to really talk about. Okay, this is interesting because there was a poll that had Trump ahead by 4, but the RCP average I think has Biden ahead by like a tiny bit. So see about that. Yeah, Biden by 3.3 actually, which is okay. So this, I think this is an outlier, but still interesting that there's a poll that had Trump ahead. So I'm going to put it in the tilt Democratic column. It's probably going to stay there for the rest of the election season unless something changes, whether it's in the favor of Trump or Biden. Obviously, yeah, Biden is from Pennsylvania, but I think that he's gonna. But I think that he's more Delaware because he's served in the Senate there. But I think that like being born in Scranton isn't gonna hurt him either. Okay, so Florida is going to be a tilt Democratic state, and I was big on this going Republican until I'd say like the end of May, when I realized that literally all the polling in Florida has Joe Biden ahead. First of all, and I don't like to ignore the polling because it has been right in the past consistently. I mean, literally everything has Biden ahead. Millions of felons, or almost a million felons, just got the right to vote. And these are people that are poor usually, and are people of color or people of Latino descent, and that's only good news for Democrats. And I think that they're good. That at least some of them are going to come out to vote, and it's only going to hurt Trump. So yes, Florida should flip to the Democrats. As you can see, they're past 300. Now, North Carolina, I think, is a pure toss-up, but I'm going to put it in the tilt Democratic column. And I say this because I say toss-up because I've been flip-flopping on this a lot. I originally had it going for the Democrats, and then I kind of was like, well, I think we're going to go for the Republicans because because in North Carolina, I think I'm being too generous because like 303 is more than Obama beat Romney by in 2012. So I thought I was being generous, but then I realized no, these are my predictions and they just add up to 333. Plus all the polling. I mean, if there's a gubernatorial election, Roy Cooper, who's a very popular incumbent, I think he could win by. I have this as likely Democratic. Cunningham, I think, is going to be very interesting that race. I'm not going to talk about that, but Cooper's only going to help Biden. I think he's going to win his race there. And there was one that had Tillis ahead by. Oh, okay, that's interesting. All right, so there's one that had Cunningham ahead by, or Tillis ahead by 2, Trump ahead by 3, um, but Roy Cooper, like he's only going to help Biden, as you can see by, he's only going to help Biden, and then RCP polling average, North Carolina, so Trump plus 0.3. That's really interesting. So there's in the margin of error, but I think that it's still going to go to the Democrats just because increased African American turnout, plus the fact that I mean Hillary Clinton, she did pretty well in the state, and um, she did not really run a great campaign in North Carolina. So yep, again I clicked 2000. Yes, I'm not going to talk about 2000 or 2004. So Obama, he won this barely over John McCain by a 12 margin. So back to the Republicans in 2016. And Hillary Clinton lost this by nearly 4 points, 3.75%. But I expect it to flip to the Democrats because Biden is better with the African American vote than Hillary Clinton is. And I think that George Floyd murder is really going to hurt Trump and increase African American turnout, which again hurts Trump. So yes, this is it. This is my electoral map prediction. Let's clear this up a little bit. I want to kind of show you guys the full effect. So I know you may disagree. Some of you may think that I'm biased towards the Democrats, which I guess I may be because I am a liberal. But no bias is impossible. Like a bias is impossible to remove, and obviously I do my best, but it still may um, it still may show. So I think that the only way to erode that is by just by stating that I have a bias, which I probably do, and so I may be being a little generous to the Democrats. But this is my prediction. I make it off of actual data. So yep, this is it. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. So thanks. I'll see you later. Bye.